Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob. I'll be your host. The OSR movement has been around for a while now, and there are a lot of neat games in the OSR movement. I'm a fan of the OSR, but that's because I've been gaming for a number of years, and I remember the old stuff that the OSRs are based off of. Most of them, anyway. And in this video, we're going to talk about a unique OSR that is pretty fun. Every time I've ran this game, I don't think we haven't had fun. But anyway, the book we're going to talk about in this video is called Dungeon Crawl Classics. This book is a pretty hefty book. It's got 504 pages and a copyright of 2012. It was published by Goodman Games, and all the artwork throughout this book is in black and white, with the exception of like one picture in the front of the book, the introduction, and some color photos of the people who wrote the book, and some color pictures of some of the little zines that they put out for adventures for this game. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at that artwork. This is the first picture we see when we open the book, followed by the only full-color work of art page in the book. The rest of the color pictures are pictures of the people that worked on the book. The rest of the artwork is all in black and white and does a good job at capturing the feel of the first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The artwork also goes a long way to setting a proper tone and mood for this game. It also has some comic-like art, such as that could be found in the first edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, as well as one of the creepiest halflings I've ever seen. I've also included a picture of the back cover of the book because I so want to play a fighter that dresses like this. To play this game, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this core rulebook and a full set of dice. A full set of dice for this game consists of a 30-sided die, a 24-sided die, a 20-sided die, a 16-sided die, a 14-sided die, a 12-sided die, a 10, preferably two 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 7-sided die, a 6-sided die, a 5-sided die, a 4-sided die, and a 3-sided die. This game uses a bunch of specialty dice, so to speak. They're normal count dice, but typically you don't find 7 and 14-sided dice. So if your game shop doesn't have them, you probably have to order them special. Or there are dice rolling apps that you can roll down that you can put odd number dice in and take care of it that way. But anyway, that's all you need to play this game. Just the core book and the dice. And of course players and paper, but that's a given. Character creation in this book is extremely unique for this game. First, you have all the players in the game will make up 4 0-level characters with no class. And so that means if you got 4 players and a game master, you'll have 16 characters running around your game. Each player controlling 4 characters. Now that may sound confusing, but trust me, once you get going, it's not bad and it's actually a lot of fun. But you roll up your attributes. The attributes are figured out with 3 6-sided dice, and you roll in consecutive order. You add the dice together once you roll them, which will give you attribute scores from 3 to 18. The attributes in this game are strength, agility, stamina, personality, intelligence, and luck. Each of the attributes give you a bonus for certain things, but the luck attribute runs a little bit different than the other attributes. Whatever bonus you get for your luck attribute stays the same no matter what your luck changes to, your luck score. And it's going to go down. The other attributes, the bonuses they get, will change as your attribute changes. But the luck score is very special. It gives you that bonus at character creation, and you roll on a special chart, and it'll tell you what that bonus applies to throughout the life of your character. And that bonus will never change. Now, if you choose a class that doesn't use what the bonus is for, then it's kind of lost, but that's just the way it is. That's how luck works. But as you play your character, you can spend luck attribute points to get bonuses to your die rolls. And that's pretty cool. Some character classes do have special abilities that you gain your luck back. For everybody else, they have to do insane things to get their luck back, such as risk their lives and possibly die. And that's the other thing with luck. When your character reaches 0 hit points, you're dead, but you can make a luck check to see if you live, which is awfully neat. But like I said, once you spend all your luck points and you wind up needing that luck, it's run out, you're done as far as luck goes. But everybody makes up their 0 level characters. The saving throws for all the characters are the same what you'd find in modern role-playing games instead of the classics. Fortitude, reflexes, and willpower. All the characters you roll up will get a 1d4 for hit points, and plus the stamina bonus. And they will roll 1 piece of random equipment, and they will roll a random occupation for that character. And the occupation will give them a trade piece of equipment and a skill. And it will also, the other thing you want to watch for in the occupations is once you go through the first adventure, if your character survives, you'll pick a class, because you'll then be first level, and with first level you gain your first class. And if you roll up a dwarven occupation, or an elven occupation, or a halfling occupation, and it'll say with the occupation, then you have to choose that racial class. I'll explain that in a minute. You then give all your characters alignments, and there are 3 alignments in this game: lawful, neutral, and chaotic. And that's pretty much it for character creation. You then send your 4 characters out in what's called a funnel. The funnel is considered part of character creation. And during the funnel, these little 0 no class characters are going to get slaughtered. And whoever lives through the funnel will be your character that you play in the game. And I've ran several funnels, and everybody has had a blast with the funnels. They're funny. Even as your characters are dying, it's pretty fun. And it may be confusing to run 4 characters at a time, but trust me, once you get going, it's easy. But after you survive your funnel, you should have enough experience to gain first level. And at first level, you pick a class. The classes that you have to choose from in this game are the Cleric, the Thief, the Warrior, the Wizard, the Dwarf, the Elf, and the Halfling. Kind of like in classic basic Dungeons & Dragons. And the races that I mentioned, the Dwarf, the Elf, and the Halfling, are classes instead of just races. And in your occupation, if it has Halfling, Dwarf, or Elf in the name, you have to pick that class. Otherwise, you're human, and you can pick any class except for, of course, Dwarf, Elf, or Halfling. That is pretty much it for character creation. You should have gained some gold and stuff so you can buy your equipment. Plus, you'll get a windfall from everybody dying around you. And you're given one heck of a dark backstory for your character as the survivor of this expedition that they went out on. And that's pretty cool. I like that. This game has a lot of neat aspects for it. The core rule for the game is a D20 type system. Now, that D20 can be modified up and down a scale depending on the situation. And of course, the scale being the die could be upgraded to a 24-sided die, or even as high as a 30-sided die, or it can be downgraded to a 16-sided die, a 14-sided die, depending on what's going on and what the situation calls for. And as your character progresses levels, each level he has what's called an action die, and it's what die he rolls to perform actions. And it starts off with a 20-sided die, and as you gain levels, that die will go up a little bit, and you'll also gain an extra action per round, and it usually starts off like 14 or 16-sided die, and that'll go up. And you have an attack bonus that you can add. Each class has its own saving throws and provides you with special abilities for your character and so forth. One of the neat parts about this game is the way the magic system works. Now, the magic system may sound a little confusing, but it's actually really cool. And the wizards, just starting off in this game, really put high-level D&D wizards to shame at some points. Your wizard will start off with a number of spells known. And instead of casting a spell and then having to wait a day and having to restudy the spell, you can cast the spell as many times a day as you wish. The way this works is that every spell requires a skill check, a spell check. And with each spell, it's listed out what happens for how high you roll. The higher you roll, the better the effect of the spell. And it gives you several effects that the spell will give you. If you fail at the spell check, then you do lose the spell for the day. But as long as you succeed, you can keep casting that spell repeatedly for the day. Now, the one thing you don't want to do on your spell check is roll a 1. If you roll a 1, bad things happen. Not only do you lose the spell for the day, but you also have to roll to see if the spell was miscast. Bad things will happen, and there's a couple of charts for miscast spells. They'll tell you which chart to roll on. You also gain corruption. Depending on the spell, it'll tell you what corruption chart to roll on. And this corruption will physically mutate or mentally mutate your character and do bad things to your character. It could be something as minor as his ears going pointed, or something as vicious as his arms turning into tentacles. So, higher level wizards can wind up looking quite monstrous. So, whereas these wizards start off way more powerful than a D&D or Pathfinder wizard, they get even more powerful as they get higher levels, but they have the fear of becoming complete monsters and just fearing for their souls and their lives more so than wizards in other games. So that's kind of nifty. Clerics, on the other hand, they have their own problems. As you play your character, you have things you have to watch for. Your alignment actually has game mechanic effects in this game, such as if you try to heal somebody that's a different alignment than you, you heal less damage on them. So a lawful character healing a neutral character, they'll heal less damage on them. But if a lawful character tries to heal a chaotic character, or a chaotic character tries to heal a lawful character, they heal just a minuscule amount of damage, even sometimes none. And there's a chance that your god will get ticked off and take away your powers for helping what is considered an enemy, because of course a chaotic aligned god is running against a lawful alignment god, and you have to be the same alignment as your god in this game. Also, once they're stripped off, you have to go on special quests to get them back. So that's kind of nifty. And of course the clerics can turn the undead and all that. And there is a chapter here devoted to monsters that you can run into and use in your game. chapter for magic items, equipment, and adventuring and stuff, putting together adventures. And it recommends that you keep your game world small, maybe 100-mile area all around, because most of the peasants will never even see a mile away from their homes. So it tells you to try to keep it realistic, but it also tells you it's your game. Do whatever you want, but it recommends you try to keep your game world smaller, and that helps with mapping and stuff. It's got 2 adventures that you can run in the back of the book. There's no character sheet, but that's okay. You can write it all out on paper. There is a lot of advertisement type stuff in the back, and it shows the covers and gives a little bit of a rundown on the different zines that they put out that are full of adventures. There's a segment on all the charts in the back, and there's several appendixes that gives you some more options and changing things up. Another thing that the magic users get in this book is they call spell burn, which you can burn off some of your attribute points temporarily, your physical attribute points, to gain bonuses to your spell casting. And magic users also have a patron, like a demon or a demigod or something, that gives them the ability to cast their powers. Of course, they still have to study them up and stuff. So that's pretty neat. And of course, the gods they need, right? The clerics need their gods. And that's really about it. There's a lot of neat stuff in this book that I like. I have never run this game and it not be fun. And there's stuff in here that I would like to try out in other games. So this brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? Oh yes, I have run this game a couple of times now, and I have had a lot of fun with it and would seriously like to try it out myself. Would I run this game? Yes, I would. Yes, I have. Now, granted, I've only run a few funnels, but we weren't able to get back together to run the actual classes for those characters after that. But the funnels have always been a blast, and everybody's been laughing the whole way through and having fun. And that's why you should play a game, is to have fun. There are a lot of people that take these things way too serious. And finally, would I recommend this game? And full-heartedly, yes, this is a fun game. It may seem a little bit daunting given how thick the book is and how differently it does some things, but trust me, it's really easy to pick up, easy to use, and a lot of fun. So thank you for joining me at a look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.